always come back to variations of the question that my son asked me when he was 3. We were sitting in a jacuzzi, and he said, Dad, why do we exist? There is no other question. Nobody has any other question. You have variations of this one question from 3 onwards. And so when you spend time in a company, in a bureaucracy, in an organization, and you're saying, boy, how many people do you know that in their deathbed said, boy, I wish I had spent more time at the office? So there's a whole thing of having the courage now, not in a week, not in 2 months, not when you find out you have something, to say, no, what am I doing this for? Stop everything, let me do something else, and it'll be okay. It'll be much better than what you're doing if you're stuck in a process. So when you think about the fact that we allocate the same amount of hours, what is it that we need to do or we can do? It's very easy today to set up organizations, that's the way we're set up, where we don't want to know how many people work, we don't want to know exactly how many hours each person works. We're going to negotiate with a group or with a person for a certain result. If the person is able to do it in 3 hours or 4 hours or 7 hours, we don't want to know. We don't want that control anymore. We want to be able to say, look, if you can distribute your life differently in terms of where you are or the amount of hours you work or between idleness and leisure and the rest of the things you want to do, the framework that's available today already permits that. It's just companies that are not letting go because they think they need control. They want to know if the person showed up, etc., because otherwise it's unfair for the other one who worked more hours, and that's an obsolete rationale, it's an obsolete system. And so it's perfectly possible, and that's how we work, is to say, give me this by such and such a date. And then if it's more hours, less hours, or where you do it, is none of our concern. And that solves the issue of allocating too many hours, when today we don't need that many in order to produce the same thing. In a time in which things seem to be lost in terms of control and direction, the first reaction is the same one as you have with a horse. When you're riding a horse and the horse is going downhill and it starts speeding up and losing control, you pull the reins, which is the very worst thing you could ever do. Because then the horse has to pull up their head and try to go down with you pulling the rein there because you're afraid. This is the same thing that happens in these organizations, has been happening in the companies. They say, this seems to be out of control. Pull the reins together and let's get control of this thing that we're losing. And the fact is, the more you do that, the more you have an entity, an organism, an organization that doesn't know what to do and is frightened. And so this fear, this malaise that's there in society today needs a completely different organization, needs a completely different architecture than this one of more and more control and more slaves building up something for you. It needs something that says, give up the reins and realize that once the horse has control and the head is free, that you're able then to use the best qualities of knowing where to step and the things that came naturally and that came tribally already within us, many of which are much wiser than the smart decision of control.
Control is smart, but it's not wise.
Yeah, control always seems smart. It seems intelligent to say, so you tell me where you were, you tell me this, you tell me how much you spent, you come here. You all come from everywhere around, from 50 kilometers away, and you take subways, and you take buses, and you spend 3 hours a day in traffic. But once you come here, I can control you. I know whether you're here, I know whether you came on time. I have a boarding school mentality, really, of control. So if I send my kids over there and I know that they're going to wake up and they're going to go to mathematics and then biology, they're going to be great. It seems smart, but it's very unwise. You have kids who then leave that and who thought they've wasted half their life there, and then they want to do away with all of this organization that was in place before. Our past is very determinant. When you think about Europe or the Western hemisphere in general, we are stuck by issues of the past. It is the past that holds back, you know? And if you said that you were, as I've done in the past, you said, let me burn everything, let me get rid of everything in the past, you're free to start thinking about the future. But if you're still collecting the past and looking to the past as a solution, having history as a very strong anchor, you're unable to move forward because there are historical reasons why our tribe of humanity is such a slow changer, because change is very, very scary. And human beings don't do scary things on their own. It takes something much bigger to force them into change.
What kind of big thing could that be?
For every human being individual, it's the heart attack, the car accident, the something that happened which was much bigger than you, which suddenly you wake up and say, oh my God, I've been spending all my life inside a box just working for someone else. Oh, isn't there a better way? For humanity in general, it is this, that suddenly it stops raining, suddenly everything goes crazy and you can't control the climate, so that's big enough. If the world were hit by a meteorite, it would be enough. It takes enormous things like that, so we are a bit dinosaurs in that sense, that we will roam around and do our thing until we're hit by something much bigger than us. And that's true even for the individual who needs a heart attack to wake up to find out that they've been working too much.
We've all learned how to go on Sunday night to go to the email and work from home. But very few of us have learned how to go to the movies on Monday afternoon. And if we're looking for wisdom, we need to learn to do that as well. And so it's basically what we've done all of these years is very simple. Is use a little tool which is ask 3 whys in a row. Because the first why, you always have a good answer for. The second why starts getting difficult. By the third why, you don't really know why you're doing what you're doing. And so what I want to leave you with is the seed and the thought that maybe if you do this, you will come to the question, what for? What am I doing this for? And hopefully, as a result of that, and over time, I hope that with this, and that's what I'm wishing you, you'll have a much wiser future. Thank you very much.